Here with Coach Fry, getting ready for the NCAA Indoor Championships coming up this weekend, Coach. It was a long indoor season, a lot of hurdles to overcome, but here we are at the end of the indoor season, and now we got the championships ready to go. What are you excited for this week?
Hey, I'm excited for any opportunity that gives Carolina kids an opportunity to get the national attention and national exposure and a chance to run against the best people in the country, to be considered among them, to have 8 kids in the meet, 4 on the relays, 1 in the high jump, 1 in the short hurdles on the girls, 1 in short hurdle guys, and a guy that runs the 200 meters. I mean, that's a good number. So traditionally, and with a COVID year, it's a really good number. Because normally, we probably would have Quincy in the meet, which changes our mile relay, which adds the number up a little bit. So when we lost our stud at mid-year, it was very scary here on who we're going to have. And so for Philip to come through and Evan to come through just helped our guys out a lot. I mean, our guys are really down a little bit because they take 12 teams into the meet, and then we end up number 14, and that's a dagger because it's been a long time since Carolina hadn't had a mile relay men's team in. But our women are the defending national champion, because they won in 2019. That was the last championship.
Yeah, and from the women's team, obviously the highest ranked event we have going there. A very young team, though. And what do you look for them? Obviously, Stephanie Davis is the returning, big dog on that team. But from a standpoint of them going out and performing and kind of a lot of their first opportunities on that giant stage, what do you expect from that squad when it comes to nationals?
There are a lot of possibilities there. I mean, we actually, we've got a junior, 2 freshmen, and a returner. Stephanie's got another year left, so everybody there is a returner. So it's a good group. But if you look down that list of NCAA qualifiers, anybody from the 12th team, to probably number 5 can be All-American, and anybody from the top 2 teams, 3 teams got a shot at, if their numbers are ahead and everybody ran perfect. You got the national record holder in A&M in the race, but there are some teams that could have a perfect day and run it a national record. So it's a competitive tier. There's a top tier, there's a middle tier you got to battle, and then nobody's out of it. So it's our young kids don't know the difference in tier 1 or tier 2 or Power 5, or they just take the stick and take off. I mean, really, that's how. But the 2 of them that are running, most likely that over there this is not their main event. One's a high jumper that runs the intermediates. That's one of the last year. Didn't get to run, but her sophomore year or junior year out in California was a 40-point girl over 400 hurdles, and the other was the number 3 intermediate hurdler in the country or around the track. She run 57 seconds. And so basically what they are is they run over sticks. And so they're team players, and they put effort in and they work really hard, and Kareem has done an outside job progressing them, and 2 great athletes. And then our alternate was our number 1 quarter miler going into straining her hamstring, Aaliyah Johnson, and Aaliyah is coming along, and almost it's like we wouldn't be bad if Aaliyah is on the team to run. So of all 3 freshmen, we can use any one of those freshmen on the team, and we haven't decided yet which one that's going to be there. And our other offer is Angel Franks, and Angel has had a couple of PRs indoors. So that's a very solid team, especially that depth, to be able to come outside and with Aaliyah Abrams adding on to it. So where they finish, they can finish number 5 indoors, and that means if our worst leg is 53 seconds indoors, and really right now that is the 53.3. And we know we got a 50 flat in there, so if we can run 3:30, then we feel like we can come outside and read 3:27, and that jumps you all the way to contesting with the top 3 teams in the country. So there's so many things here, we are a great outdoor group, and so we're kind of excited about that. And on the guys' side, it's similar. 307 indoors on the board with not a real lead-off leg. We lost our top guy in Quincy, and then we lost our top freshman. He was here for 2 weeks, ran 1, and had a 47 second on his first time out, and then he's now in the boot after 2 weeks. So just kind of COVID hit, we rebounded, and then we get our top star, signs a great shoe contract, which we can't stop people from going to make money, and then our kids rebound again, and now they're in the national championship. So these are things that teach lessons in life for our kids. You get knocked down, but you get back up, and your son is coming. The good guy does win. It's just not when you expect it. It's not if the good guy wins. It's when. And so the good guy is the message to our kids. The good guy's starting to win now. So then that's what the Nationals do. They set you up. Evan is having tremendous practices. Don't be surprised if you don't see him find a way to score at the Nationals. And those are Philip a year ago, he don't final in the SEC championship. The good guy does win. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work. But when you got talent and you work, a good guy wins. And so we got a lot of good guys. Everybody on the trip I'm excited about. Everyone is a great student. None of them have that professional, came to college only to be a pro. They all came to be students. They're Curtis Fry's guys. They're the lunch bucket hat. They're the 45-year guy that keeps working, trying to be the good guy. And that's the message we give our kids. The good guy wins. Keep being the good guy. I know it looks like that other people who have a fair chance. Now, nobody's got a fair chance. We got great facility. We got great coaching staff. The good guy wins. It's just a matter of when. It's not if. It's when. And that's the way I feel about going to this national. We may do something spectacular because the good guy wins.
Absolutely. And then when it comes to, and a lot of people don't know this, and maybe you can explain too, like when our kids go to nationals, they get a chance to put on that white uniform in the Gamecock colors. How special is that to you, and how exciting is it when those kids get to grab those white uniforms and put them on?
Hey, that's why we don't put it on all the time. There's got to be something where the good guy puts on that hat. The good guy gets a shot. The sheriff is in town. Every kid that's been to the national championship at Carolina, only the kids that's been to the national championship, put on the white. And so they know the significance of putting on the white. I mean, we will run a pin relay round when we're in the championship section of the pin relays. We'll take white with us if we're if we are the leading seed to go into the finals of a relay at the SEC championship. But you ought to be running for championships when you put on the white. And our kids get that. We get that from the birth. It's kind of labeled in. It's almost with regulations and guidelines and protocol. You wear a necktie on an airplane, and you get to carry white. We might get to run in it. You might not. But if you go into the national championship, there's not a might. You're going to wear white. And so they're tickled, and they're going to wear a necktie. That's two things that's going to happen. And now you can stay at home and not wear white. But you're going to dress like you're planning to be successful. We say we do employer dressing. That's the idea. Our kids, it's nothing wrong with being an employee, but it's okay. It's okay to be an employer. So attitudes are what we work on constantly with our kids. That we don't mind being on the path, but we'd rather shape the path. We create the path. So this is just a moment for young kids that you notice, as you're seeing that recruiting class that last year, a top 5 class, they're a little ahead of schedule, but you're adding them on with another top class in the country, and the EJ's class is not a bad class. It's pretty good here in Will, and we missed out a little bit with that mile relay. That hurts a little bit with EJ, Will, and Bailey Rogers never knowing what a SEC championship is to come on and become one of the top 10 in the country. This has been a heck of an indoor season for some of those experiences. We look for Eric to come outdoors and start leading back, and we lost a little bit there with that concussion with our weight thrower, and that set him back 3 or 4 weeks. Those things where now he's getting through his concussion and he's one of the top hammer discus throwers. That gives us 2 events outdoors when he didn't score indoors, and so now he's out here just killing it. So we're excited about. We got so many little pieces that get us going. We had a high jumper that scores top 5 in the conference. That recruiting class is phenomenal, and as they say, you build it, there come. The support from our administration to build us an indoor facility, outdoor facility. Last night I was talking to the SEC, and John Gibson said he's got to come visit us to see if we can host in 2023 the indoor championship. There's so many things that are built around this young group that can come to fruition with this incoming recruiting class. And we got Taggart, who's the #1 shot putter in the country last year. He's been with a cracked bone in his hand. It's healed up. We're probably going to redshirt him outdoors, but that was a #1 kid. So you put him in this group. And so when these girls are an example for indoors, because having 1 season indoors, being with COVID, and having 2 out of that 3 have COVID, lose training, have Stephanie spend 30 days on COVID to return, and be at the national championship. That is the resilience of what's come with this kind of freshman class. The quality of 5-star athletes. It's an example when people think that, yeah, you can work hard like Bailey and get to be a contributor. But when you leave high school being one of the top 2 or 3 kids in the country and you get a setback, you work hard to get back to being top 3. A person who is the number 20 in the country, they work hard to get back to being top 20. That's a different place when you lose your conditioning and the emotional breakdowns that you have from the loss of the work and the attention that you get from your coach because you're not there. Those are difficult times. And last year at this time, on this very day, a young person was on camera and he was touching mics as though this was not such a big deal, and we didn't know it was. The devastation that it would have. And we went all the way to where they had to quarantine a whole league so athletics could be something important to American public that watches. Well, that was important for the public to watch. The devastation that happens whenever they took from us on our national championship week last year and out in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The devastation for our kids to not be able to compete, and the coaches, if you can imagine how it is, how you people felt that didn't get to leave their house to go to see an athletic event, or this fall when they didn't get to watch while other people were able to go compete in their sport, and how the only sport in the NC2As, there's only 2 that didn't get to host their championship. They were in 2 cross-country championships coming up now, but they haven't run indoor track championships, and they didn't give the season back to our kids that lost their championship. There are so many emotional devastations that occur to the kid that loves to run. And then you have some schools that took the sport away and dropped the sport from kids who were devastated, and nobody cared that they lost their sport. The knee on the neck of the sport of track is a constant, because those are two examples of persons of a league, of the NCAA committee, and of institutions that tried to take sport an opportunity for. And a sport that affects minorities at a higher rate. They watch their parents be treated unfairly in the COVID. They watched persons not get their shot because they were not in the right group or zip code such that they could be well. They watched themselves not be able to love what they do, and then they watch their friends lose their opportunity. Our sport takes a devastating hit, and people don't get it because it's just sport. But they get it when they can't watch a sport. They get it when they can't go and sit at a bar and look up on a screen. But what about the player, the person, the athlete, the one that has to play? I mean, who they are is a part of what they do. Watching the game is a part of what you do or what someone, a spectator, they enjoy. But imagine being in the forest. The athlete is in the forest. They want to play. They know what it feels like being in the forest, and to take that away from them. And that's the devastation that the COVID had on the athlete. And then I'm talking about my athlete, the sport of track and field. I see the shirt that says "Support coaches, support black coaches." I like that. But I like to say America supports the black runner, because the Olympics are coming up. The love for doing run. People can do the bridge run, but the Olympic run, the people who developed the dream to be an Olympian, to take that away from and make kids feel like, make coaches feel that we might be next. That's a devastating feeling whenever the cost of sport was to all these institutions. They had to lose money. They lost some 60% and some 80% of their budgets. The first place people go. They go to the sport without support. The sport that doesn't generate revenue. Track is that sport. The sport that has the most persons of color. Well, that's that sport. Systemic, now, it's just the way it is. People can't identify. They don't see the pain in a person that runs that sport when they lose that sport. You can just go run. No, you just can't go be an Olympian. That dream is killed for little boys and little girls that run what they call Junior Olympics. Where do you go after you stop running Junior Olympics? The dream is I go to the Olympics. What's the steps between I run Junior Olympics? I go to college to run track. What if there's no college? Then that is a dream deferred. If I can't see Olympians, if I can't see college runners, then that's a dream deferred. That's a dream taken away from a person with an opportunity. That dream, I gotta go to college so I can go to the Olympics. So I just hope we get through this and that persons get back to the reality of not deferring the opportunity for young kids to dream to run.
Awesome, Coach. Well, good luck this weekend.
Thank you.